Retirement is often described as the reward at the end of a long road. Years of early mornings, responsibilities, pressure, and sacrifice finally give way to freedom. And for many people, the day retirement arrives feels like crossing an invisible finish line. The alarm stops ringing, the calendar opens up, the pace of life slows down. On the surface, it feels like everything should fall into place naturally. But what many retirees discover, sometimes too late, is that retirement doesn't automatically bring peace. It amplifies whatever habits, patterns, and decisions were already present. The structure that once guided your days disappears, and what replaces it is entirely up to you. This is where retirement can quietly become confusing, isolating, or even stressful, not because something went wrong, but because no one warned you what to avoid. Across countless conversations, forums, and shared experiences, the same regrets appear again and again. Not dramatic failures, not catastrophic mistakes, but small choices are made repeatedly, often without realizing their long-term impact. These are the things people wish they had known earlier, the things they would undo if they could go back. This video is about those things. Not to scare you, not to overwhelm you, but to give you clarity. Because retirement can be one of the most meaningful chapters of your life if you avoid the traps that quietly steal joy, purpose, and stability. The first thing you should never do after retirement is isolate yourself. Isolation doesn't usually happen overnight. It happens gradually. One canceled plan, one missed call, one week where you decide you'll stay in today. And before you realize it, days start blending together. Weeks pass with minimal interaction. The world slowly gets smaller. Many retirees say they didn't notice loneliness creeping in because it felt peaceful at first. After years of noise, deadlines, and constant demands, solitude felt like relief. But solitude becomes isolation when connection disappears completely. People often assume they'll naturally stay connected through family or old friends, but retirement changes social dynamics. Coworkers move on, schedules no longer align, friends may relocate or face health challenges of their own. Without intentional effort, social circles shrink. One retired teacher shared how after leaving work, she went weeks without meaningful conversation. At first, she enjoyed the quiet. But over time, she noticed her energy fading, her motivation dropped, simple tasks felt heavier. She realized that connection wasn't optional, it was essential. Staying socially connected doesn't mean being busy every day. It means maintaining regular touch points with other people. A weekly call, a shared hobby, a group activity, even brief interactions can provide emotional grounding. Some retirees find purpose in volunteering, joining community groups, or attending local classes. Others stay connected through faith communities or neighborhood routines. What matters isn't how you connect, it's that you do. Human beings don't retire from needing other people. The second thing you should never do after retirement is neglect your health routines. During working years, health often fits around obligations. Appointments are squeezed into lunch breaks, exercise is postponed, rest is sacrificed. Retirement creates space, but that space doesn't automatically turn into healthy habits. Without structure, it becomes easy to delay care. You tell yourself you'll schedule that appointment next month. You skip walks because there's no urgency. You sit longer, move less, eat differently. One retiree admitted that after leaving work, he stopped taking his daily walks because there was no schedule pushing him. Months later, he noticed stiffness, weight gain, and low energy. What started as rest quietly turned into decline. Health in retirement requires intention, not intensity. Small routines matter more than ambitious plans. Regular movement, consistent checkups, daily habits that support both physical and mental well-being. Mental health is especially important. Retirement can bring unexpected emotional shifts, loss of identity, uncertainty, or a feeling of being unneeded. Bottling those feelings doesn't make them disappear.
Talking about them does. Many retirees benefit from simple practices like journaling, social interaction, mindfulness, or speaking with a counselor when needed. Emotional health deserves the same attention as physical health. Your body carries you through retirement. Caring for it is not optional. The third thing you should never do after retirement is ignore safety and preparedness. When you've lived independently for decades, it's easy to believe you'll always manage just fine. Many retirees brush off safety concerns because they don't want to feel vulnerable or dependent. But preparedness isn't about fear, it's about peace of mind. Small changes in the body can have big consequences. Balance shifts, recovery slows. A minor fall can become a major event if no one is nearby. One older man shared how he slipped in his kitchen and couldn't reach his phone for hours. He said the physical pain healed faster than the fear he felt lying there alone. After that experience, he made simple adjustments, better lighting, reachable phones, and a way to call for help if needed. Safety also includes home environment awareness. Clear walkways, proper lighting, secure rugs, easy access to essentials. These small adjustments protect independence rather than limit it. Emergency preparedness matters too. Power outages, weather events, medical needs. Having a plan reduces anxiety and increases confidence. Knowing who to call, where supplies are, and how to respond makes a difference when stress is high. Preparedness doesn't mean expecting the worst. It means respecting reality. Retirement is meant to be lived with freedom, not unnecessary risk. Another thing you should never do after retirement is underestimate how much routine matters. Once your work schedule disappears, for years your days were shaped by deadlines, meetings, commutes, and responsibilities. And even if you didn't enjoy all of it, that structure gave your life a rhythm. When retirement begins, that rhythm suddenly vanishes, and many people assume that freedom alone will be enough. But what often happens instead is confusion, boredom, and a quiet sense of drifting. I've seen many retirees share how the first few months felt exciting, waking up whenever they wanted, doing nothing if they felt like it, but slowly days started blending together, mornings lost their meaning, and motivation faded. One man explained that without realizing it, he stopped getting dressed properly, stopped planning his days, and began feeling tired all the time, even though he wasn't doing much. What he discovered later was that it wasn't age or health that made him feel that way. It was the lack of structure. Humans need a basic framework to feel grounded. After retirement, it becomes important to create a new rhythm that works for you, not one filled with pressure, but one that gives shape to your time. Waking up at a consistent hour, having regular meal times, planning simple daily activities or weekly routines like grocery shopping, walking, meeting friends, or learning something new. Structure doesn't take away freedom, it protects it. It gives your days direction. And without it, retirement can quietly turn into a long stretch of empty time that feels heavier than expected. Another mistake many people make after retirement is withdrawing from social life without even noticing it. At first, there's a common belief that retirement is a time to finally rest and spend time alone. And while solitude can be peaceful, too much of it can slowly erode your emotional well-being. Several retirees have shared how they gradually stopped answering calls, stopped attending gatherings, and stopped making plans, not because they wanted to, but because it felt easier to stay home. Over time, that isolation became their new normal. Loneliness rarely arrives loudly. It sneaks in quietly, disguised as comfort. One woman explained that she didn't feel lonely at first. She enjoyed the quiet. But months later, she found herself feeling sad for no clear reason. She had no one to share small moments with, no one to laugh with, no one to check in on her. Social connection doesn't have to mean constant activity or large groups. It can be simple and meaningful. A regular call with a friend, a weekly coffee meetup, a community class, a place of worship, or even online communities. Staying socially connected keeps your mind active, your emotions balanced, and your sense of belonging alive. Retirement is not the end of social life, it's an opportunity to reshape it in a way that feels supportive and fulfilling.
Another thing you should never do after retirement is ignore your physical health simply because you feel fine. Many retirees fall into the trap of thinking that if nothing hurts badly, then everything is okay. But the body changes gradually, and small habits make a big difference over time. One retired teacher shared how after leaving work, she became far less active without realizing it. Her job used to keep her moving, walking, standing, interacting, and once that stopped, she spent most of her days sitting, watching television, or using her phone. She didn't notice the impact immediately, but over the years, her strength, balance, and energy declined, making everyday tasks harder. What she wished she had done earlier was maintain simple daily movement. Nothing intense, just regular walks, stretching, light exercises that kept her body engaged. Physical health after retirement isn't about chasing youth. It's about preserving independence, the ability to move freely, care for yourself, and enjoy life on your own terms. Staying active also supports mental health, improves sleep, and reduces the risk of many age-related issues. Even gentle routines can have powerful long-term benefits. The key is consistency, not intensity, and starting earlier rather than waiting until problems appear. Another common mistake after retirement is neglecting mental stimulation. When work ends, the mind loses one of its main sources of challenge and problem solving. Many people don't realize how much their job kept their brain active until it's gone. One retiree shared that after a year of retirement, he felt mentally slower and less sharp. He assumed it was just aging, but later discovered that his brain simply wasn't being challenged anymore. The mind, like the body, needs exercise. Reading, learning new skills, puzzles, writing, teaching, volunteering, or even learning to use new technology all help keep the brain engaged. Physical stimulation gives you a sense of progress and purpose. It reminds you that growth doesn't stop just because a career does. Retirement can be the perfect time to explore interests you never had time for before. Learning a language, studying history, starting a small project, or mentoring others. The goal isn't productivity, it's engagement, keeping your mind curious, active, and alive. Another thing you should never do after retirement is cling too tightly to your old identity. For decades, many people define themselves by their profession. I'm a teacher, I'm an engineer, I'm a manager. And when that role ends, it can feel like losing a part of yourself. Some retirees continue to introduce themselves by their former job long after they've stopped working. And while there's nothing wrong with honoring your past, it becomes a problem when you can't imagine who you are beyond it. One man shared how after retirement he felt invisible, like he no longer mattered because his job was gone. What helped him was realizing that his value was never tied to a title. Retirement gave him space to become something new, a mentor, a volunteer, a learner, a grandfather, a community member. Letting go of an old identity makes room for a new one shaped by choice rather than obligation. You are more than what you used to do, and retirement is an invitation to discover that more fully.
Another mistake people make after retirement is putting off important decisions, thinking there's plenty of time later. Whether it's health checkups, legal planning, home maintenance, or lifestyle changes, procrastination can quietly create stress and complications down the line. One retiree shared how he delayed updating his will and organizing important documents because it felt uncomfortable and unnecessary, until a health scare forced everything to be done in a rush. Preparation brings peace of mind. Taking care of important matters early allows you to enjoy retirement without constant worry. It's not about expecting the worst, it's about creating stability so you can focus on living well. Being proactive reduces stress, protects your loved ones, and gives you a sense of control over your future. Another thing you should never do after retirement is overspend early without understanding your long-term financial picture. Many retirees feel an urge to finally enjoy life, travel, buy things, help family, and while enjoyment is important, unplanned spending can create anxiety later. One woman shared how during the first few years of retirement, she spent freely, assuming her savings would last. But inflation, unexpected expenses, and healthcare costs quickly changed that reality. Financial awareness doesn't mean living in fear. It means making informed choices. Understanding your income, expenses, and future needs helps you enjoy retirement with confidence rather than constant worry. Budgeting, planning, and reviewing finances regularly gives you freedom, not restriction. Another common mistake is neglecting your living environment. Your home plays a major role in your quality of life after retirement. Many people stay in homes that no longer suit their needs out of habit or emotional attachment, but ignoring necessary changes can create stress, safety risks, and discomfort. One retiree shared how simple adjustments like better lighting, removing clutter, and rearranging furniture made her home feel more comfortable and secure. Your living space should support your lifestyle, not limit it. Whether that means downsizing, modifying your home, or simply maintaining it properly, your environment shapes how you feel every day and deserves attention, care, and intention. Retirement is not just about what you stop doing, it's about how you choose to live each day moving forward. And avoiding these mistakes can make the difference between simply passing time and truly living this chapter with clarity, purpose, and peace.
Another thing you should never do after retirement is assume that your relationships will take care of themselves once you have more free time. Many retirees believe that since work is no longer in the way, they'll automatically spend more time with family and friends. But in reality, relationships still require intention, effort, and communication. One retired woman shared how she expected her children and grandchildren to visit more often once she retired, but life stayed busy for them. Work, school, responsibilities continued, and she felt disappointed and overlooked. What changed things for her was realizing that she needed to take an active role, inviting, planning, reaching out, rather than waiting. Connection doesn't happen by accident, it happens by choice. After retirement, you may need to be the one who initiates calls, suggests meetups, plans visits, or even travels to see loved ones. Nurturing relationships keeps emotional bonds strong and prevents feelings of abandonment or resentment. Your presence matters, but it has to be expressed, not assumed. Another mistake many people make after retirement is letting fear dictate their decisions. Fear of change, fear of spending, fear of trying something new, fear of failing, fear of aging itself. Fear can quietly shrink your world. One man shared how he stopped traveling, even locally, after retirement, not because he couldn't afford it or wasn't physically able, but because he kept thinking, what if something goes wrong? Over time, that fear kept him home, isolated and regretful. Retirement should not be a retreat from life. It should be a re-engagement on their own terms. Caution is wise, but constant fear is limiting. Doing nothing often feels safer than doing something, but it slowly erodes confidence. The more you avoid, the harder it becomes. Taking small, calculated steps builds courage, whether it's traveling, learning something new, joining a group, or making lifestyle changes. Growth still belongs in retirement. Another thing you should never do after retirement is ignore changes in your emotional health. Retirement is a major life transition, and like any transition, it can bring unexpected emotions. Sadness, anxiety, irritability, grief, even when everything seems fine on the surface. Many retirees feel confused when they experience low moods because they believe retirement is supposed to be the happiest time of life.
One retiree shared how she felt guilty for feeling sad after retiring because she thought she had no reason to feel that way. But emotional shifts are normal. Your identity, routine, and sense of usefulness change, and it takes time to adjust. Acknowledging emotions rather than suppressing them is essential. Talking to someone, journaling, joining support groups, or even seeking professional help is not a weakness, it's self-respect. Emotional well-being is just as important as physical health, and addressing it early can prevent deeper struggles later.
Another mistake is assuming independence means never needing help. Many retirees pride themselves on self-reliance, and while independence is valuable, refusing help entirely can lead to unnecessary strain. One man shared how he avoided asking for help with home repairs and heavy tasks because he didn't want to feel dependent until he injured himself trying to do everything alone. Independence does not mean isolation. It means choosing support wisely. Allowing others to help strengthens relationships and protects your health. Accepting help when needed is a sign of wisdom, not weakness. Retirement is not meant to be navigated alone. Another thing you should never do after retirement is stop planning altogether. Some people believe planning belongs only to working life and that retirement should be entirely spontaneous. But without any planning, days, weeks, and years can slip by without intention. Planning doesn't mean rigid schedules. It means having goals, experiences, and things to look forward to. Whether it's trips, projects, family events, learning goals, or health goals, planning gives direction and anticipation. One retiree shared how having even small plans like monthly outings or yearly travel ideas gave her excitement and motivation. Planning helps you stay engaged with the future rather than living only in the past or present. Another mistake many retirees make is comparing their retirement to others. Comparison can quietly steal joy. Some people appear to travel constantly. Others seem financially comfortable. Others look endlessly happy. But every retirement is different, shaped by health, finances, family, and personal values. One man shared how scrolling through social media made him feel like he was failing retirement because his life looked quieter. What he eventually realized was that peace, contentment, and meaning don't always look exciting from the outside. Measuring your life by someone else's highlights creates dissatisfaction. Focusing on what matters to you creates fulfillment. Retirement is not a performance, it's a personal journey. Another thing you should never do after retirement is neglect long-term thinking. While living only in the moment, enjoying the present is important, but ignoring the future entirely can create problems later. Health needs, mobility, finances, and support systems evolve. Planning ahead allows smoother transitions. One retiree shared how she delayed thinking about future care options because it felt uncomfortable, but when health issues arose suddenly, she felt unprepared and overwhelmed. Considering future possibilities early doesn't mean giving up independence, it means protecting it. Thinking ahead allows you to make choices rather than having choices made for you. Another mistake is allowing boredom to settle in unnoticed. Boredom often disguises itself as rest at first, but over time it drains energy and purpose. Boredom can lead to unhealthy habits, excessive screen time, overeating, inactivity, or withdrawal. One retiree shared how boredom slowly made days feel heavy and meaningless until he decided to commit to regular volunteering, which transformed his sense of purpose. Staying engaged mentally, socially, and physically protects against boredom. Retirement offers time, but time needs meaning to feel fulfilling. Another thing you should never do after retirement is forget to celebrate yourself for how far you've come. Many people move into retirement focusing only on loss of routine, status, income, identity, but they forget to honor decades of effort, resilience, and contribution. Taking time to reflect, appreciate, and respect your journey builds self-worth. Retirement is not an ending, it's a transition into a chapter earned through years of work, growth, and experience. Recognizing that gives this phase dignity, confidence, and peace.
Retirement is often described as the finish line, but in truth, it's more like a doorway. one that opens into a chapter shaped less by obligation and more by choice and intention. The habits you keep and the ones you let go of during this stage matter deeply because they quietly shape your days, your health, your relationships, and your sense of peace. Avoiding the things we've talked about in this video isn't about fear or restriction. It's about awareness. It's about protecting the freedom you worked so hard to earn. Many people enter retirement thinking the biggest risks are financial, but time and time again, retirees share that the real challenges come from isolation, loss of structure, neglecting health, emotional withdrawal, and slowly disengaging from life itself. These are not dramatic mistakes, they're subtle ones that build over time, which is why noticing them early makes such a difference. Retirement isn't about doing nothing, it's about doing what matters, staying connected, staying curious, asking for help when needed, planning gently for the future while still enjoying the present, and most importantly, staying engaged with life on your own terms. It's okay if your retirement doesn't look like anyone else's. Quiet days, meaningful routines, deep conversations, small joys, these things matter just as much as big trips or busy schedules. Your value doesn't disappear when your career ends. Your usefulness doesn't expire. Your story continues, and you still have influence, wisdom, and presence that matter to others and to yourself. If there's one thing to remember, it's this. Retirement works best when it's lived intentionally, not passively. When you choose connection over isolation, purpose over drifting, awareness over autopilot, this chapter can be deeply fulfilling, calmer, richer, and more meaningful than you ever expected. If any of these points resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on which ones apply to your own life. Even small changes can create powerful shifts. And if you have experiences, lessons, or insights of your own, feel free to share them in the comments. Your story may help someone else walking this same path. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing so you don't miss future conversations like this one. Thank you for spending this time here. And remember, retirement isn't about stepping away from life. It's about stepping into it differently, with clarity, confidence, and care.